Good evening, everyone. Hey, come on in, you guys. Welcome to our first City Council meeting of 2021. Please join us for the invocation followed by the salute to the flag. Please rise.
Let us pray. Good and gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for loving us and giving us the blessings that you give us each and every day. Lord, we just ask you that you look out upon our first responders and our military. And Lord, we ask you that you look over our great nation as we go through a transition in presidency. Lord, we just want to thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, for it's in his name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call?
Councilmember DeMont.
Here.
Golding. Here. Jansen.
Here.
Meza.
Here.
Nichols.
Here.
Stokes.
Here.
Mayor Hoffman.
Here. Moving on to approval of the minutes, item 001, please.
Move that we approve the regular council meeting minutes on December 21st, 2020.
Second.
The motion and second, is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 002.
I move that we approve the minutes from the special council meeting held on December 28th, 2020.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
003.
I move that we approve the council briefing minutes held on January 11th, 2021.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any announcements from the council? Ms. Golding.
I'd like to wish everyone a happy 2021. Welcome back to Jax Beach City Hall. And want to just mention that Beaches Watch is going to have a meeting on Wednesday, February 3rd at 7 o'clock. It'll be a virtual meeting, but it should be a really good meeting because Scott Dudley, who's the Director of Field Advocacy with the Florida League of Cities, is going to be talking about home rule and why home rule is important. And then he's also going to be talking about the Florida League of Cities legislative priorities for 2021 because the legislative session is starting in March. So that'll be a really good meeting to learn about what's going to be coming before the legislature and what would be impacting our local cities. So I would encourage anybody who's interested to go to beacheswatch.com and you can get the information to join the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Golding. Mr. Stokes?
I wanted to highlight our new weather stem system here in Jacksonville Beach. You can access it going to duval.weatherstem.com. It is really informative beach safety information, live camera on the pier, weather alerts, a lot of other features on there. And also wanted to highlight that we are the only station in North Florida, and the only other one on the East Coast is down in West Palm. So very awesome that it's right here in Jacksonville Beach. It's really cool, a lot of features. I encourage everyone to go check it out. I nerded out on it for quite a while today, so just wanted to highlight that and also highlight our police department. We've had a lot of high-profile press releases in the last couple weeks, and just wanted to highlight that. And that they're doing a great job and keeping our streets safe, and really when there is violent crime, they've followed up and made the arrests and are really helping reduce the crime rate here in the beach. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Mr. Jansen?
Yeah, so as a volunteer and board director for Project Cold Case, it's an organization that focuses on attention on unsolved murders throughout the nation. We have an annual event called Year of Hope, and it's coming up this Saturday. It's all going to be done virtually online, but if you want to check out that organization, it's projectcoldcase.org. It's a great organization, and The founder, executive director, is a Beaches resident as well. His name is Ryan Backman, and he himself is a surviving victim of an unsolved murder case from here in Jacksonville. So if you can, visit projectcoldcases.org. Thank you.
Thank you. And just one final announcement, if you missed the news today, it's kind of unfortunate announcement that we've had a lot of residents ask for a vaccination site out here at the beach, which we've definitely been advocating for, but at this point, the city is actually closing to first vaccinations, the 2 sites that they had already opened in Mandarin and the west side. So not only are we probably not getting a vaccination site anytime soon, but those 2 are being closed. This has everything to do with just the sporadic nature of the supply. So they don't have any way week to week at this point to really know how many vaccines they're going to get. So we are staying on top of that, and we are going to continue to advocate for Beach's location, but that's been a setback right now. So I know you guys are all getting calls and emails from constituents and residents, so just so you're aware of that information. Okay, seeing no more announcements, courtesy of the floor, Ken Marsh, for your first courtesy of the floor in 2021, you know the drill.
Yes, I do. Ken Marsh, 2011 Gale Avenue. Happy New Year to all.
We'll just pull the mic up a little bit so we can hear you.
As this is my first time up to the new council, I want to keep this request tonight simple. I have a handout. At the top are 2 pics showing a small part of what makes our downtown area look horrible. It shows a pic of beach regulation signs along the boardwalk and our bollards in the street, both in a sad state of disrepair. It is not a secret that Margaritaville will be opening up with guests paying upward of $400 a night. Upon opening, our downtown will take center stage. Clearly, we need to be better. Tonight, my request goes specifically to the mayor to replace and simply take the signs and the bollards out. Chris, I've shown these pics for 6 years, and I feel confident that you find them appalling and share my frustration of what I'm showing you again tonight. I've been to the Beaches Museum many times. The landscaping, the building, the fences are all kept up and are beautiful. The same cannot be said for the visual appeal of our downtown. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I'm confident that your standards are high. I'm asking you tonight, as political head of our city, to use these same set of standards that you use to make the museum an inviting place, and lead the charge to make our downtown more attractive. Take these signs and bollards down or replace them. This is not hard. This has nothing to do with a vision plan or changing the LDC. Simply good urban hygiene. The lower portion of the page are some social media comments as an example that I'm not the only person in the city that sees what I'm showing you tonight, although I'm sure you already knew that. I rarely come here to just complain. I try to offer up solutions. So on a broader note, I offer this to the entire council. Fixing up the visual decay of the downtown is not just a council problem. You have the benefit of having an entire committee called the CRA as a resource to get things done. With everything you have on the plate and all that will drop in, now is the time to challenge them. Help them be successful. Tell them that you want to see a strategy to make this downtown look inviting. Tell them the date you want it, and have open dialogue with them so that our new guests, not to mention the community and the local businesses, get the downtown we deserve. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Marsh. I know, City Attorney, did you have an announcement you wanted to make?
Do you mean for a closed session, Mayor?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make that now if you'd like.
Sure.
Okay. So pursuant to Florida Statute 286011, I'm required to make a request at a public hearing to hold a closed session in litigation if I seek advice from the council concerning the litigation. We've recently been, there recently has been a lawsuit filed, to my knowledge not yet served, but filed in the court. It's case number 16-20221CA167, Ross Thompson versus City of Jacksonville Beach. And I'm requesting council's approval to schedule a 30-minute closed session, which would include the entire city council, myself, city manager, and potentially our outside counsel, Cindy Townsend, and a court reporter. And I'm suggesting either the February 1st or 16th at 5:30. Either date is fine, but that's my request, and if council would like to let me know which date or later, then I can schedule that.
You want us just to get with you after the meeting?
Actually, I'd like to announce it tonight
Okay.
if council is able to agree which date would be suitable. And then I can at least have that on the record, and then I'll reasonably notice it properly according to the Florida statute.
Could you repeat those dates, please?
Sure. So at 5:30 on either the 1st or the 16th of February, that's our two meetings. We were thinking to hold it before the regular scheduled council meeting. And I expected the closed session should take no more than 30 minutes.
Either one is fine with me.
Either one is fine with me.
Okay.
I'm good on the first.
Either is good for me as well.
Okay. Mr. Jansen on just the 1st?
No, I'm good. Either one.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, council.
That's the first time that's ever happened.
I'll set it for the 16th. Thank you.
All right, moving on to the financial reports. So we have a presentation from staff.
First item, 21004, is the financial reports for the month of December. These are financial reports that are presented by the Finance Department on a monthly basis for council consideration. We do have our CFO, Ashley Gossett, is here if you have any questions on the materials contained there.
Okay, can we have a motion?
I move that we approve the financial report for the month of December 2020.
Second?
Any questions or discussion from the council? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Demott? Yes. Golding? Yes. Jansen?
Yes.
Meza?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Stokes?
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman?
Yes, motion carries. Item 005, is there a presentation from staff?
Yes, at the last council briefing, you heard from our communications manager, Jacob Board, about the RFP process that we have recently gone through in order to select a vendor to start our negotiation process on for the replacement of the city's website. This is the actual item for the award of the RFP and authorization for staff to negotiate a contract for services. Once that negotiation is complete, the final contract will be brought back to council for formal consideration. Mr. Board is here if you have any questions for him at this time.
Any motion?
I move that we award RFP number 11-1920 to Civil Plus LLC for website design and development and authorize staff to negotiate a contract for services.
Second?
Anyone have any questions, comments? We did go over this extensively at a briefing last week, and if you've been to our website recently, you will understand why we're taking this step. It's in dire need of help. So Jacob, we're glad you're taking this on, and your hard work is only just beginning on this website. So seeing no other comments, roll call please.
Councilmembers Golding? Yes. Jansen?
Yes.
Meza?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Stokes?
Yes.
Demott? Yes. Mayor Hoffman?
Yes. Item 006, do we have a staff presentation?
We do. This item is looking to award bid 1920-11 to All Site Contracting and to authorize administration services with Four Waters Engineering. The city on an annual basis moves forward with different infrastructure projects related to our water and sewer system. For this particular year, we have projects where we are looking to do water main extensions on 7th Avenue South, 8-inch gravity sewer extensions along Shutter Avenue, 8-inch gravity sewer extensions on 8th Avenue North, and installation of a saddle manhole next to a gravity main tap and sewer service T connection next to the Burrito Gallery and the AT&T store at the intersection of Beach and A1A. The city staff did the bid and received 4 bids for consideration. The bid tabulation is also included for your review. The Public Works Department is here if you have any questions about the work to be performed or the award of this particular bid.
You have a motion?
I move that we award bid number 1920-11, Jacksonville Beach Water and Sewer Improvements to, and enter into an agreement with All Site Contracting, Inc., and authorize construction administration services with the project design firm Four Waters Engineering, Inc.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or questions from the council? Mr. Stokes?
Yes, I just didn't see a timeline. I know it says fiscal year 2021, but wondering if we had a start date, especially because some of these projects will disrupt, looks like they will disrupt streets. So I just wanted to see if we had a timeline so that we could be aware if we have any constituent questions.
Dennis Barron, Public Works Director, Mayor and Council. We do not have an exact timeline yet. Obviously, it's hard to start putting into motion exactly when they're going to begin and how they're going to do it based on the fact that we have an agreement to be able to move forward. We will be cognizant of what we're doing and when we're doing it so that we don't interrupt traffic any more than we have to, and have all these will have a traffic plan as well. So if there's any major traffic considerations, there'll be detours and closures in place to be able to accommodate that.
Mr. Nichols?
Is there a duration assigned to it?
Not yet. Most of these are pretty small areas.
Right.
They're like 1 block areas, so I don't expect them to be extremely long. I know a lot of them, a couple of them are just problem areas. The Burrito Gallery, the actual manhole is just a problematic area that we've got something we need to be fixed, so we just include it with this process. This will be the first of 2 you'll probably see over the next couple of months. We'll be coming back with another set as soon as they get drawn. So this is kind of last year's set that we didn't get completed, and we're going to still try to move ahead with this year's set as well.
Thank you.
Mr. Mason?
Are these 4 projects going to be going on at the same time, or are they going to be in phases?
I don't know that yet. I'm going to imagine that they're going to be done consecutively and not all at one time. The only thing that really got done all at one time was when we had the paving crew come out. We actually were able to capitalize and get 2 crews out at the same time, and the A crews from Duval Asphalt, so they were able to get in and get out in like 7 days, which was amazing to be able to get completed. So I don't expect that they're all going to be going on at the same time, but I do expect that they'll be consecutive.
Any other questions for Mr. Barron? Thank you. Seeing no other lights, roll call vote.
Councilmember Jansen?
Yes.
Mesa?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Stokes?
Yes.
Demott? Yes. Golding? Yes. Mayor Hoffman?
Yes. Motion carries. Item 007.
007 is looking for final plat approval for property located on 12th Avenue North. The property owner and developer is looking to replat lots 3 and 4 of Block 124 Pablo Beach into 5 new lots for development of RM1 townhouses. We do also have Heather Ireland, our senior planner, here if you have any questions on the platting process.
Can I get a motion, please?
Yes. I move that we approve the final plat to replat lots 3 and 4, Block 124 Pablo Beach into 5 townhouse lots.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from the council? See no lights. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Mesa?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Stokes?
Yes.
Demott? Yes. Golding? Yes. Jansen?
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman?
Yes. Item 008.
This is also looking to do a public acceptance of infrastructure improvements that were made for the Rio Point subdivision. That subdivision is located north of 12th Avenue North between 21st and 22nd Streets North. The property has been divided for multiple single-family lots, and a series of public infrastructure has been installed to include potable water distribution system, sanitary sewer collection system, stormwater collection system, roadway improvements, miscellaneous site work, and underground electric system. It is common that we do a formal acceptance of the infrastructure since it's considered in the public right-of-way and will be our ownership and responsibility going forward. Again, we have Public Works staff here in the event that you have any questions on this acceptance.
Can we get a motion?
I move that we accept the dedication to the city and acceptance for maintenance of the public infrastructure improvements for the Rio Point development.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Nichols?
Yes.
Stokes?
Yes.
Demont? Yes. Goldie? Yes. Jansen?
Yes.
Mesa?
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman?
Yes, motion carries. On to the resolutions. Madam Clerk, will you read Resolution 2072-2020 by title?
A resolution of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, to amend its special event policy to include a co-sponsorship policy, providing for adoption of recitals, adoption of the policy, repeal of prior inconsistent ordinances, resolutions and policies, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you. Is there a staff report on this before we ask for a motion?
Yes, just a couple brief comments. Over the past several months, staff has been working with the council to make changes to the special events policy, specifically the inclusion of a co-sponsorship portion of that policy. If you take a look, the only portion of the policy that's been amended is the Appendix 7, which has been included at the back of the document, which is the section that we've discussed with council in a previous briefing. We also have Director Fatides here if there are any questions as to its content.
Can we get a motion?
I move that we adopt resolution number 2072-2020, amending the special event policy to include Appendix 7 co-sponsorship policy.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Ms. Dumont?
I sent Chris and Mike a bunch of corrections for the policy. I don't know if he wants to speak to it.
Yes, thank you. They're very helpful corrections that Mr. Mott noted, and Jason and I addressed those today, and I can point out what they are, and I would suggest that we, if council accepts the changes, could amend the motion to accept with these changes, and we'll make the corrections and move it forward, move the policy and the resolution forward according to council's approval. But in page 1, section 1B, we're going to correct that to state Jacksonville Beach Fire Marshal. The question was whether this is Jacksonville's fire department, fire chief, or Jacksonville Beach's fire marshal. We'll be correcting that, Jacksonville Beach Fire Marshal. On page 3, section 1H, this was just a question that Mr. Mont had regarding certain proceeds and income and not regarding nonprofits, and we provided an answer to that, which was that the language that is in that section was originally drafted by the previous administration. Although it does not restrict nonprofit income, we believe that the intent was for the city council to have the ultimate decision to allow nonprofit to retain net income or whether income goes to the city. And we're going to just leave the language, actually, that's in there. On page 20, section 6, I'm sorry.
Can I ask for some clarification? I apologize.
Sure.
You said 1H? That was 1H?
Right, page 3, yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at our,
Oh, sorry.
I guess what I'm looking at, I don't see a 1H.
Yeah, it's actually on,
It's at the top of page 3.
yeah. Oh, yeah, so where is that one? Oh, yeah. Can you explain that to Ms. Golden?
Jason Proceedings, Director of Parks and Recreation. I think, Ms. Golding, you're looking at the original special events policy as opposed to the co-sponsorship on the appendix.
I'm looking at attachment A.
Yes, and so what the question that Councilmember Dumont posed was in the original special events policy, which should have been attached to the agenda. So when you're referencing that section, that's the section in the original special events policy.
Okay, but I don't have a copy of that, I don't think.
It's in the packet, page 3 of the special events policy.
The co-sponsorship policy should be attached as appendix, I think, 7 on the original policy.
And just as a clarification for the council, there's actually the complete special events policies and procedures, which is attachment A. And at the end of that document is appendix 7, which is the co-sponsorship policy, which is being made a part of the special events policies and procedures. Based on the email that we received from Councilmember Dumont, she is suggesting that there is some cleanup language that needs to be made in other parts of the special event policy separate from the co-sponsorship policy. So the question is whether or not the council would like to entertain amending the current motion to accept this to include her modification, so to speak, to the originating document of the special events policy. And that's what the city attorney is currently walking you through, is what those proposed changes would be.
So the policy was passed prior to the contracting out of the fire services. So in the policy, it still says Jacksonville Beach Fire Department, which doesn't exist. So it's either the fire marshal or it's going to be the fire chief of JFRD or a representative. And that policy has never been updated, so I sent the updates, the corrections for the whole policy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but not all of them will change.
So if you'd like, we can go through those 7 proposed amendments tonight, or if you'd rather, we could do the equivalent of a strike through and underline to those other sections and bring those other sections back for consideration at the next council meeting. That'd be your choice of whether or not you want to do it tonight or at the next meeting.
I would lean towards we focus on the change that we're making, or the addition that we're making with the co-sponsored events, because I didn't read this as in a review of the special event policy. I read it as in adding the co-sponsorship of the events. I don't know about you guys, but if we're going to review the special event policy, which I'd be happy to do, I'd like to do that with that intention.
So I'll stop then, and then the pending motion is to adopt the co-sponsorship policies, and that's the motion. We can just leave it with that, and we'll come back as Mike said.
Now, when we contracted out the fire department, did we put any language in there that would supersede prior references to the Jacksonville Beach Fire Department? I mean, is there any way to automatically update that without reopening the whole special events policy?
Actually, I don't know if we did that, but I don't think we would, and I don't think we did have that in there. But it would be good to update and revise the special events policy. We'll bring the special events policy back with the corrections, and maybe even some more. But tonight you can accept the co-sponsorship policy
Okay.
through the pending motion.
Everyone feel good about that? Okay, motion on the floor, no more lights. Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call?
Councilmember Stokes,
Yes.
Demott,
Yes.
Golding, yes, Jansen,
Yes.
Mesa,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. Madam Clerk, can you please read Resolution 2073-2020?
A resolution of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, adopting the Duval 2020 Local Mitigation Strategy document, providing for adoption of recitals, repeal of prior inconsistent resolutions, and council decisions, severability, and effective date.
Is there a presentation from staff before we get a motion?
Just a very brief summary, the local mitigation strategy is a document that serves as the primary component of a statewide process of community-based hazard mitigation planning. Here in Duval County, it is the city of Jacksonville that takes the lead on the creation of that local mitigation strategy document. The city is represented along with the other 3 municipalities and the city of Jacksonville. And it's effectively a list of projects that each community identifies in order to mitigate risk going forward. So the city of Jacks Beach does have multiple projects listed within the overall hierarchy of projects of the local mitigation strategy. By adopting the LMS tonight, that would basically put us into position for potentially receiving future grants towards any of those projects that we have on the list. We also have our senior planner, Heather Ireland, here, if you have any questions.
Thank you. Can we get a motion?
I move that we adopt resolution number 2073-2020, adopting the updated 2020 Duval County Local Mitigation Strategy.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions from council? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilmembers Mott,
Yes.
Golding,
Yes.
Jansen,
Yes.
Mesa,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Stokes,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes. Okay, moving on to our ordinances section. Madam Clerk, will you read ordinance number 2020-8156, first reading?
An ordinance of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 32, Article 7, Sections 32-180 through 32-184, to make corrections consistent with current state and national plumbing code standards and adapt to the city's evolved program needs, providing for legislative findings, repeal conflicting ordinances, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This ordinance is before the council for a public hearing and consideration on its first reading. I will now open the public hearing on ordinance number 2020-8156. We'll start with anyone who would like to speak in favor of the ordinance. Anyone who would like to speak in opposition to the ordinance? Public hearing is closed. Therefore, time, may I get a motion?
I move that we approve ordinance number 2020-8156 on the first reading, amending Chapter 32 of the City Code of Ordinance by revising various articles and sections, and schedule a second reading for February 1st, 2021.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. This is another item that we've discussed extensively at a briefing. But do any council members have any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Golding,
Yes.
Jansen,
Yes.
Mesa,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Stokes,
Yes.
Demott,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. Madam Clerk, will you read ordinance number 2020-8158 by title only?
An ordinance of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, to repeal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 24, registration of certain persons, in its entirety, providing for repeal, severability, and an effective date.
This ordinance is before the council for a public hearing and consideration on its first reading. I will now open the public hearing on ordinance number 2020-8158. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the ordinance? Seeing none, is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to the ordinance? None, I'm so surprised. Public hearing closed. Mayor Pro Tem, can we get a motion?
I move that we approve ordinance number 2020-8158 on the first reading, repealing City Code of Ordinance Chapter 24, registration of certain persons in its entirety, and schedule a second reading for February 1st, 2021.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or questions from the council? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call vote?
Councilmembers Jansen,
Yes.
Mesa,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Stokes,
Yes.
Demott,
Yes.
Golding,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. Final ordinance, Madam Clerk, can you read ordinance number 2020-8160 by title only?
An ordinance of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, to amend Chapter 2, Article 1, Section 2-11E of the Code of Ordinances to provide the city manager with limited sole discretion and authority to sell city-owned real estate that meets certain criteria and conditions, and to permanently delegate administrative authority to the city manager to determine surplus city personal property items, and to place such property for sale by a competitive award process or by public auction or other means of disposition, providing for legislative findings, repeal conflicts, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This ordinance is before the council for a public hearing and consideration on its first reading. I will now open the public hearing on ordinance number 2020-8160. Do we have anyone who would like to speak in favor of the ordinance? Do we have anyone who would like to speak in opposition to the ordinance? Public hearing is closed. Can we have a motion, Mayor Verdun?
I move that we approve ordinance number 2020-8160 on the first reading and schedule a second reading for February 1st, 2021.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from the council? Ms. Golding?
I do have one question on page 4 of 5, number 3. Says the appropriate staff members will be requested to negotiate the business terms of the sales agreement. And I was just curious, who determines who the appropriate staff members are?
That would be me.
Do we need to be specific there and say that the city manager will determine the appropriate staff members?
You could if you want to, but I think that everyone understands that this process would be driven at the direction of the city manager. But that's your call if you want to change it.
I'd like to make a motion that we amend the ordinance to clarify section 3 with the city manager being responsible for identifying the appropriate staff members.
We have a motion to amend the original motion. Is there a second? Amendment fails. Is there any other discussion on the original motion? Again, this is also another item that we've discussed previously at a council briefing, so we've had a chance to absorb it a little more. If there's no other comments or questions, Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call?
Council members Meza,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Stokes,
Yes.
Mott,
Yes.
Golding, yes, Jansen,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. That concludes our city business for this evening. Thank you all for coming out. Meeting adjourned.